Listen, I don't know what to tell you. This video found you for a reason. At some point, you need to stop acting like a little boy and instead you need to be a man. Or at the very least, you need to start smelling like one. This is the 8th time that I've put on deodorant today. Because in the next 7 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this old and outdated deodorant brand ended up taking back their market position, flipping their marketing, and increasing their sales by 125%. So let's get into it. Old Spice is a brand that's been around since the late 30s and early 40s, and they did a phenomenal job back then. All of their marketing was centered around one specific group of people: old, traditional, masculine men, aka boomers. And this was pretty clear in their advertising, their slogans, and everything that they did. Cue the old guy on the surfboard with the tagline, Old Spice, the mark of a man. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Old Spice was dominating in the area of old and classic advertising. That's why they had such a large market share of the men's deodorant space back then. But there was just one problem. No one was caring anymore. And that was for two main reasons. Number one, the boomers who were already sold on the product were getting older and they didn't need any more advertising. And number two, Old Spice was ignoring a really large and emerging demographic, the sons of these boomers, Gen Z and millennials. Now, if you're still with me here, let's do a little quiz. Marketing 101. What happens when there's a gap in the market? Companies that are extremely intelligent will shift immediately to solve that problem and provide a solution. So that's exactly what one company did. And they were rewarded tremendously for being quick. See, while Old Spice was still marketing to the boomers that had already loved their product, there was one company that was emerging throughout this entire scene, and they were targeting Gen Z and millennials who were significantly more than the boomers. Axe started to completely take over the game, and they did so by using this spray and get girls strategy to their marketing. If you went to high school all the way from the 2010s to the 2020s, you could not pass by a male locker room without smelling Axe. It was impossible. It was cheap, it was affordable, it smelled solid at the time to our really clueless noses, and we thought that it helped us to get girls. And this is exactly why Axe became a billion-dollar play. So while Axe started to completely take over, Old Spice now started to kind of fade into irrelevance. And it was only being kept alive by its consumer base that had already been loyal to the product. People like my dad, who would run an Old Spice bottle completely to the ground and then go and buy a 3-pack again that would last him for the next 3 years. Then came 2008. This is the moment that everything completely changed for Old Spice. It was really clever because Old Spice did something that was really unexpected. You see, as opposed to just targeting the boys or targeting the men, what Old Spice did was that they looked at the consumer data, and what they found was, more often than not, women are the ones who are buying the body wash and the deodorant and even sometimes the cologne for their partners. So what they did was they said, hey, if we can market to the women, then we essentially have control of the market. And that's exactly what started to happen. And when they started to market to women, the results were absolutely insane. Their commercials started to go viral. Their YouTube channel became the #1 most subscribed YouTube channel for a company on YouTube. And then their website traffic spiked by 300%. Old Spice was living by the phrase, happy wife, happy life. Now, with all this new traffic that was coming in, their individual products started to see tremendous amounts of sales. Take, for example, their Old Spice Red Zone body wash. This body wash grew and sold 60% year over year until July of 2010, where sales started to double every single year. See, the beautiful thing about Old Spice was that their marketing was starting to separate them from the rest of the crowd, but then they wanted to take that a step further. So what did they do? They started to focus on their execution. Because so many sales were starting to come in because of their smart marketing, they wanted to start to build more brand loyalty. So what they focused on was actually reaching out to people who were buying their products and sending them personalized thank you messages. So over the span of 48 hours, they sent over 186 personalized thank you messages to their supporters. So what they were focusing on now was using their brand marketing to build brand loyalty, securing this brand for the long run. Insane, dude, insane. So what started to happen to their competitors? Well, after Old Spice pivoted and started to see really good results, Axe maintained their spray and get girls strategy. And what had started to happen was that they started to see a decline in sales. sales because the market was clearly starting to shift in the direction of Old Spice. Even though Axe still owned about 26.57% of the market share of deodorant, what had started to happen was that their overall sales year over year started to decrease because people were no longer resonating with this spray and get girls strategy. Not to mention the fact that most girls don't even like the smell of Axe. And what was also happening was that these boys who Axe was now marketing to were actually starting to grow older and become the ideal target customer for Old Spice. See, consumer trends were starting to shift. Old Spice was starting to lean more into humor in their marketing. Meanwhile, Axe, on the other hand, just kept focusing on the spray and get girls and this early high school romance trope. Axe's biggest problem was that they weren't evolving fast enough. A couple of years later, in 2016, Axe tried to pivot with a more self-aware campaign, but by then, the culture war had already been over. Old Spice was declared the winner. So from one Old Spice user to another, there's 3 simple things that we can learn from Old Spice's legendary comeback. Number 1 is that you have to flip the script. You can't market like everybody else. You're just going to get left behind. Number 2, humor and engagement always win. People love brands that entertain them. So do your best to keep somebody roped into your message. And number 3, you either adapt or you die. Old Spice is being rewarded for their creativity. Meanwhile, Axe is slowly fading into a dying brand. And that, my fellow men, is how Old Spice outplayed Axe and took over men's grooming yet again. Hold on. This video is not over just yet. It's time for you to have your own Old Spice moment. So with this brief exercise here, we're going to completely flip your marketing around. So let's get to it. Use these 4 steps right here to completely rebrand your image so that you can have a comeback like Old Spice. Step 1, what is the biggest misconception about your brand, your niche, your industry? Does it feel boring? Does it feel outdated? Is there some possible way that we can flip it? Step 2, how can we market differently than your competitors? Let's look at what they're doing and totally do something else. Try to add humor, personality, absurdity, emotion, make it different. Step 3, write a 10-second hook which completely grabs the attention of your audience, just like Old Spice did. Number 4, test, and test. So be sure to drop your rebrand ideas in the comments below and I'll review them in our next video. See you guys on the next one.